We're back. We're sad to report this week the podcast parlay did not hit. I think it went 1, 2, and 1. It was gross. It was ugly. Dylan, I'm not blaming it on you. I'm not blaming it on you.
What?
I'm not blaming it on you.
Mine didn't either.
I'm not blaming it on Dylan. I'm blaming it on the fact that it was a Saturday game.
Oh.
Winners are if you think you have a winner, Carter, winners are winners no matter what day of the week. Like, and I understand it didn't win. It was one of the flukiest games in the past 10 years of professional football. But winners are winners. It doesn't matter if it's a Thursday. It doesn't matter if you remember in 2020 when games would get pushed back to Tuesdays.
Does history matter to you, Dylan?
Yeah, I guess so, but
does history matter? Because we have never hit a parlay this year that has not been all on Sunday.
Now, there's this thing, Carter, called the law of averages. So maybe I just need to keep picking Thursday night football, keep picking these. Hey, fun fact, Carter, listen to this. We're probably going to have to pick a Saturday game this weekend.
Oh, I know. This is great. Or we do all Saturday. Santa comes a day early for the people this year.
Okay, I can get down with that. But I'm just saying maybe we need to start picking Thursday games. Eventually one will hit.
Like this Thursday, if there was a game, Thursday night football that we could pick. I don't know if there's two teams playing that we'd want to bet on. I don't know. I might have one.
Is there a certain team in there that we've put in the parlay like 95% of the time?
Look, how many 4-game parlays have we hit that the Jets contributed to? That's all I'm going to put there.
And I'm not mad. I love the Jets. The Jets were my biggest play last week. The Jets were my favorite pick. What happened?
It was not good. We gave him a touchdown with 1:49 left on the clock.
Let's just recap the NFL real quick. We'll talk about the Jets right now. Is Zach Wilson dead? Like, is his career in New York over?
No, it's not. It's not dead.
If this trend continues the rest of the season, will he return as the quarterback of the New York Jets next season?
It's hard to say. I think they'll give him I don't think they'll give him the starting job year 3, right? If it was like, I'm saying like if today, end of the season, right? I don't think they'd give him the starting job year 3. I think you'd have to compete for it against Mike White or somebody else, right? Like a veteran if they brought in a veteran. But to be honest, bro, like, who do you bring in? Like realistically, who are you bringing in? Jimmy G's the only one I've heard. And now he's coming off of injury. Like maybe, right? I don't know if that's a real possibility, but you're going to have to pay. Like whoever you bring in that's a veteran, you're paying them. It's not a cheap deal. So now you have a rookie contract. You're also going to have to pay Mike White because he's a free agency. So you have 2 people you're paying. They have to pay a third person. I just don't see it. Like either you get rid of them, like you have to trade them, or you have them competing against Mike White and then maybe some other like, random veteran. But here's the deal. When it comes to Zach Wilson, he's not the reason they lost that game. I'm just going to put it there. And that's the truth. He's not the reason they lost the game. Here, what would you rather have? Would you rather have a quarterback? Let me ask you guys. I want an honest answer from you guys. Would you rather have a quarterback that can make the easy look hard? So right now he's making the easy look hard, right? Impossible. He literally is missing shots over the middle, easier throws. He's making the super hard, the almost impossible for most quarterbacks in the league look easy. Would you rather have that, right? Do you feel like that's more upside because then you can teach those easier throws if you have like the intangibles to be able to make the ridiculous, 50-yard bombs left and right? Like that's what I'm saying. I understand where they're coming from. You got to see what you got. If you can develop that, you got a great quarterback. If you can't develop that, you literally don't have a starting quarterback in the league. I understand that. So it's rough.
I understand what you're saying, and as someone who has an egregious amount of Zach Wilson stock, I was huge on Zach Wilson. I firmly believe he is a great quarterback. Something's missing there. I don't know if it's basic fundamentals. It's something missing in film. Can't read defenses. I don't know what it is. I don't know football well enough to determine what's wrong with him fully. And I also know his O-line stinks. But man, I'm not seeing much. Like you got to show me more.
What would you need to see? Is it completion percentage? Because the yards were fine. The touchdowns were fine. Is it completion percentage? Because I agree that needs to be increased by
decision making
15%. It cannot be in the 50s. It's got to be at least in the 60s to be a
better
starting
decision making, man.
I think that comes with experience. Then that's what I'm saying. That's my argument. It's like you have to rep the kid to see if that comes.
you can't. I don't think you can use the experience, like it comes with experience argument, because you have guys like Herbert and Burrow that are doing extremely well with the same amount of experience.
Yeah, but not every quarterback is the same as Herbert and Burrow, right? Like I would argue more quarterbacks need more time than less time.
Okay,
So
let me pose a question for you too. Going into 2023, let's say nothing changes, whatever. Would you rather run into 2023 with the Jets, not paying a different quarterback and run in with Zach Wilson and Mike White and have them compete in the offseason and go
Yeah.
for it in 2023? Or would you rather trade for and pay for a Derek Carr?
It depends on how much he costs. That's such a hard question. Because if you have to pay him like 30 million a year, you're gonna have to sacrifice on so many other places. So if you can keep it cheap, that's what I'm saying. You have a whole cheap. It just depends on how much you have to pay Mike White, which I don't think you're gonna have to pay him too much. I would say run it back with Mike White and Zach Wilson one more year. If year 3 you get nothing from either of them, you're done. You're done.
I would
They're ahead of schedule.
I would probably suggest an alternate route, and I'm going to sound like the old man standing, screaming, get off my lawn. But I would honestly try to invest in the run game first. Your guys' defense is set. It's easily one of the best in the league. And if you can set up that run game, you can make guys like Mike White or Zach Wilson work just by setting up the play action. When you make teams fear your run game, it opens up so much more on the air side of the ball, on the passing side of the ball. And like I have the depth chart pulled up right now. Zonovan Knight as running back 1.
Undrafted free agent. Yep.
No clue who he is. Michael Carter's seen flashes of what he can be, and I understand running back is unreliable, but if you go out there and you draft a guy that ends up being good, or you maybe pay for a second or third year running back that hasn't had injury issues, maybe that opens up the pass game a little bit more.
Yep.
I mean, Breece Hall's out.
That's the thing. Ever since Breece Hall went out, you want to know the record of both quarterbacks? Not even just Zach Wilson, Mike White and Zach Wilson. They're literally combined 2-5 since Breece Hall went out. So they start out 5-2. Breece Hall goes out 2-5. I mean, it's not necessarily. They were like 4-2 at that point, or whatever it was. But they cannot win. Every game they've lost, they've rushed for under 8, like it's like under 80 yards or 70 yards. Like Dylan's 100% right. Without a run game, and that's when, to be honest, Carter, you know this. Zach Wilson's is most effective in play action. When he's play action, he is deadly. Like when he's able to do play action, like actually have a real, like what Dylan said, threat where they're sucking in the linebackers, he can hit him over the top. Like he has the arm strength to be able to hit deep shots, and it gives him enough time to develop the play where they tricked him, and he has enough time to be able to throw something where it actually develops. So, I mean, you're 100% right. Until they fix the line and the running game, which again, Breece Hall is it. It was just, he's unfortunately hurt, so it's rough. But until they develop that or have that consistently, I don't care if you have Mike White or Zach Wilson back there. They're not going to win games. Like on a consistent basis, they're not. They're going to pull them out. Like they've been close, but it's
last thing on this, and then we'll move on from the Jets and Zach Wilson. When I watch these Jets games, the wide receivers seem frustrated with Zach Wilson. Their body language shows a lot more in these Zach Wilson games. I know I'm probably reading into it a lot more, but you can see the frustration in these wide receivers compared to Mike White, I feel like. Do you see the same thing as I am?
Yes and no. So yes, they're showing outward expressions, but it's just how Garrett was in play. So I thought the same thing until I actually saw him on the sidelines doing the same stuff, even with like defensive stuff that was going on, like him like freaking out and doing things, and like how the kick was missed, and like he did the same thing, like the same. I think that's just how he shows his emotions. I think he's very like demonstrative with his emotions. Now you're right. I don't think he shows it as much with Mike White because Mike White's not missing those throws. He's not missing the 10-yard like curl routes. He's not missing the slants in the middle. Zach Wilson, for some reason, has a big issue right now hitting the ball. I don't understand it. I don't, because he was one of the most accurate quarterbacks I've ever seen in a BYU jersey. Super accurate. You watch that UCF bowl game, some of the throws in tight man coverage, he was placing it on a dot. Now, again, I think it's because I think his processing is slow. I think he's trying to read the my guess is this. I think he's reading the safety too long, and it's taking him a little bit and he's doing like lackadaisical in his 5-step drops. So he's getting to his drop late, his half a second or a second off when he's throwing the ball, and it's just making a harder window. I don't know what it is. I think it's something like that. It's odd, bro. Like I said, we can talk around in circles. The thing is, I honestly don't see them moving away from him yet unless they traded him. So it's either they trade him or they're going to run him back with Mike White 100%, just like open it up for competition.
If I can leave one positive note about the quarterback controversy, at least Garrett Wilson's used to having bad quarterbacks throw to him.
All right. Let's move on. Let's talk about some other games this weekend. Indianapolis at Minnesota. That was just the stupidest game ever. I'm at the mall Christmas shopping. I'm watching the game in some, those like random sports shops like Pro Image Sports that have all those like classic jerseys in every single mall in suburban America. I'm sitting there watching the game in there. I see it's 33-0. I'm like, whatever. Drive home. All of a sudden, Vikings are in this game.
We were at a family event, and my dad's side of the family over in Illinois. My dad and my brother are both Vikings fans, and keep getting notifications. And I just see them both on their phone as we're playing games. I'm like, what's going on? 28-36 or whatever the score was. I was like, oh, okay, sounds like classic Vikings.
It was out of control.
Guys, that game was ridiculous. Like that game was I literally was like watching. I was like, oh, that's fun. They're scoring. I'm like, there's 0% chance they're coming back and winning this game. That's what I kept saying. I was like, okay, they're making it closer. Okay. And then there's like fourth quarter. And I was like, whoa, what the? I was like, this is a game. And I was like, they have plenty of time. And at that point, the Colts offense decided to do absolutely nothing. Matt Ryan is a part of 2 of the greatest collapses known to man. Being a Falcons fan, I would lived it. I saw it in his eyes. And I was like, this man is collapsing like 28-3. I'm seeing it right now happen again. And he did it. He literally collapsed. I don't know what's wrong with this guy, man. 2 massive collapses. Like the greatest collapses of all time. He's a part of both of them.
All right. Baltimore, Cleveland, lame game. Gross. Whatever. That was the real snow game of the day. That was the real weather game. Yep. The fake one was Miami, Buffalo. There wasn't an ounce of snow until Dylan jinxed it.
I did jinx it on Twitter, bro. I was watching it. I was like, all you hear all week is about how this monstrous snowstorm's coming through Buffalo. You saw the pictures of the stadium before the game, and then it looks like the game was being played in a dome when you were watching it for the first half. Like, where does the snow go? Because even if you shovel it, there's still remnants of the snow on the field. There was no snow on the field.
Yep.
That's what I'm saying. When we did the podcast last week, I was looking at the forecast. The tricky thing is whenever they bring out these reports, it says by Saturday, it's going to be 1 to 2 feet of snow or whatever. But I was like, that's meaningless. Who cares? Unless it's during the game, why does it matter?
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
But us overbetters, ka-ching. That was an awesome game. Bills 32, Dolphins 29.
Such a fun game.
That made me feel great about both teams.
Yep.
Dolphins are legit.
Dolphins are good. Their defense is not there, bro. I don't know what happened to it. It drives me nuts, bro. Like they can't be a complete team. And that's what scares me when you're talking about paying a quarterback a lot of money. It's like you're going to sacrifice somewhere else. You can't pay Quinnen Williams $100 million plus a quarterback 40. You know what I'm saying? You have to sacrifice somewhere. So that's the problem. It's like, man, the Dolphins are fun, but I don't know if their defense can really get them through like to a Super Bowl run. I don't know if they can.
We're not going to go through all the games this week, just kind of the crazy ones that happened. Dallas, Jacksonville. I wanted to bet Jacksonville so bad on Sunday, but I just couldn't get myself to do it because it felt like the classic. All right, now you're going to fall into the Jacksonville trap. Cowboys by 25, but Jacksonville walk off pick 6. They're in the playoff race.
Yeah, they're playing a team in the playoff race this Thursday too. It's gonna be crazy.
The AFC South and the NFC South, basically the exact same division.
Are the Titans collapsing, allowing this crazy, like come back from the Jags? Like, what's going on there, Dylan?
That's classic Titans stuff, man. I mean, just injured everywhere. Quarterback can't throw the ball. Derrick Henry looking like a shell of himself, and pass defense bad. I don't want to get into it too much, but it's not looking good. And our schedule's easy. We have Houston this week, Dallas. That's tough, and we have Jacksonville. Beat Houston, beat Jacksonville, we're good. So we'll see.
Yep.
We'll get into those games. Pittsburgh, Carolina. Kind of called it on the podcast that it was the week to stay away from Carolina and bet on Pittsburgh. Najee Harris cashed the action pick. Let's go. And then real quick,
Carter, before you go forward though, your pulse on Carolina football is scary accurate.
I've watched a lot of Carolina Panthers football. Also, my pulse on Duke basketball, scary accurate too. I took Wake Forest money line tonight at plus 250. So Come on.
Yeah.
I'm willing to bet against this Duke team. So
Anyhow,
Cincinnati, Tampa Bay. Oh my gosh, that made me feel so good about myself because Cincinnati is the better team. At halftime, I texted all of you. I said Cincinnati plus 10.5 is the easiest play like of all time. They're down 17-3. They're the best second half team in football. Their second half differential is insane. It's like one of the best in history. It was the easiest play of all time. I love seeing Tom Brady stink. I love seeing the Tampa Bay Buccaneers stink. Like, it's not even the fact that they're in the division. It's just the fact that everyone just keeps saying, oh, Tom Brady, you can't bet against Brady. You can't bet against Brady. You can bet against Brady. He's not good.
It's not really his fault, though. I mean, come on.
Bet against the Bucks, I think, is the better thing.
Yeah.
They were up 17-3, and he put through some terrible turnovers. He had a large part in them losing that game.
But you're thrown in a special teams like, I don't know, not the best coaching situation in Tampa Bay. You're throwing in a special teams turnover. The Bengals are good.
At what point is it Brady's fault? At what point does it become Brady's fault? I mean, he threw 2 interceptions in the second half.
Now you see, interception stats are a little flawed. Those can be misran routes. Those can be tipped passes. Wide receiver drops them.
True.
Well,
We will use the stats to defend.
Interceptions were all flawed from
not all interceptions are created equal.
I'm joking. Obviously, yes.
Anyhow, I just wanted to say
the Bucks, Carter. Like I said, you can bet against the Bucks right now and feel pretty good.
That was the perfect result for the Carolina Panthers. Carolina's very much in this thing. We'll talk about that in a second. We'll move on. The Vegas Pats game. Dylan, I'll let you take this one away because you had Pats money line.
Yeah, Pats are no longer a professional football team in my eyes. I won't be talking about them. I definitely won't be betting any game they're involved with because you bet the Patriots for one reason, it's because Belichick's the coach, and none of that stupid crap is going to happen. There's not going to be the flea flickers. It's not the flash. It's grit. And they embarrassed the whole New England area. So that's all I'm going to say about it. I'm not entertaining their games this season.
I love this. Patriots fans are like, finally, like, bad things are finally happening to them. And like,
finally,
it's little, like, finally they're getting these small, like, heartbreaks, like a regular season loss. They're having these small heartbreaks that apparently their lives are over because they lost. I mean, it's a meaningful game because they're in the playoff race, but they were going to lose first round of the playoffs anyways. This year, everyone's been talking crap about Bill Belichick. I've been thoroughly impressed with Bill Belichick in this Patriots team. I don't believe they're that talented, and I believe he is just somehow grit and grind. Grant, you mentioned it a couple weeks ago. This like weird Belichick magic where he just somehow still wins games. The fact that this team is 7-7, yes, the defense is phenomenal. Bill Belichick is always going to have a phenomenal defense, but I believe Mac Jones is a bad quarterback. I believe those receivers are extremely overpaid, and they're still 7-7. Like, come on, that's not that bad.
In my mind, the Pats are the Jets with a run game. I think they're very similar teams. I think Zach Wilson and Mac Jones are pretty comparable. So I kind of just thought about that on the spot.
Yeah, I think they're very comparable right now because one only makes checkdowns and then the other one can only make bomb throws. So yeah, they're very comparable. They only have one aspect of their game that they can do. I agree with that. It's crazy, but the only time you bet the New England is when they play the Jets. That's like free money at this point. So that's
young QBs.
Yeah, or that. Yeah.
Giants Commanders, that was one of the most rigged games I've ever seen in my life. I mean, that was flat out rigged. He literally looks at the ref and says, "Am I good?" And the ref says, "Yep, you're good," and then throws the flag. I mean, respect to the ref if he had like the Giants money line or something, like good for him. Like that was hilarious. And I know Dylan's over here like Ohio State wide receiver once again, not following the rules, undisciplined.
They don't play school over in Columbus. It's football or bust. That's all I got to say. I can almost guarantee you Scary Terry wasn't sitting in any Econ 101 classes. So the guy to not know that he's not lined up on the line, I don't care. It's not the referee's job to let you know.
And from the video, referee said he's good.
If he says
then throws the flag.
Because we don't know what was said. When push comes to
the ref said this. That's the common thing. What do you mean?
Yeah.
We don't know what he asked.
Oh my!
What do you think he asked? Be like, hey man, you like pizza? Yeah, I like pizza.
And I was like, hey, what do you think about a curl route here? What do you think about a curl?
See him do this to the ref, and then the ref will go, "You're good," or they'll be like, "Yeah, you're fine." Like
helmet's on right? I don't know.
I'm telling you, that was like there's certain times where I'm like, there's for sure weird stuff that goes on in the NFL with refs. That was one of those moments where you're like, that's.
And then the missed pass interference call, because that was blatant pass interference on Curtis Samuel.
Yep.
So wait a second. Is the ref supposed to say no? It's not his job to say no. You're not lined up right.
Tell him to scoot up. That's all you have to say.
No, they literally.
That's not his job. It's not his job to line up. No, it's not. His job is to call a penalty, not to tell the players before the plays ran that they're lined up correctly or incorrectly.
If he checks with them and he says yes, that's messed up, bro.
But he's not going to say no.
Yes, he can.
Oh my God!
Why would he not? Like, what do you mean?
He told him yes. He told him he was good.
I don't know. You guys can think that. That's not the ref spot.
We'll have to
and we don't know what was said.
We literally do.
No, did you have a mic on him, Carter? Did you have field access? Were you standing next to the guy? Because
what else would they be talking about?
Carter, I don't know, but we can't narrow it down and say this is for sure what the guy said to the ref. We can't do that if we're trying to be honest.
Like, if you have any context, if you've watched previous football games ever in your life, every wide receiver asks the ref, hey, am I good? Lined up right here. You're
telling me you've never had someone talk to you in a crowded room and you can't hear what they're saying and you just laugh and nod, or you say yes, or you go like,
what? No. Dylan, that is not
such a bad argument.
Yeah, that's not the same here.
You've never done it?
It is a very common thing to signal the ref, like, am I good? That's a very normal thing that's done in the NFL. And if you said yes, we don't know for sure. Dylan's right. We weren't there. We don't know for sure. But based off of what I saw from the ref, he tried to give an indication that he was saying, yeah, you're good. Based off of that. Again,
and the fact that he looked at him, then scooted up and said, am I good? And then the ref says, yeah, you're good.
Well, again, speculation.
Okay, let's say if this was Michigan wide receiver Devin Funchess lining up, would we be talking about this? Would we?
The fact that I had the under, yes, we'd still be talking about
it. All right. That's it for NFL recap this week. Just real quick, the bowl bet standings. I have them right here. The current standings are in first place, Dylan. No shocker there, really. I feel like you put in the most homework out of everyone. You put in the work. Up 4 units, 1-0. Long way to go. I mean, 4 games, long way to go with 5 and 3 unit plays in there. Grant, he's killing it. He's at 0 units, 0-0.
I can't be stopped, bro. That's all.
Undefeated.
I stay hot, and I continue to stay hot until the 28th. Then we'll see if I stay hot.
And just like Charlotte sports mediocrity over here, I'm in third place. Minus 1 unit, 1-1, just 500. That's what we are here in North Carolina. And then fourth place, Connor, down 5 units, 0-2. I warned him and I said, are you sure you want to put 4 units on UConn football?
We said that. We've all said that. We're like, whoa. Dude, I think if you go back on the other show, I think I said, dude, the reason why you're going to have to host the podcast is because of UConn football.
I have to go back and pull that clip up then.
I might have literally said that word for word. So we'll see. But yeah, we all kind of clowned for the UConn pick. I'm not going to lie. We're like, oof, I don't know about UConn, bro.
Anything else like in the bowl stuff? I mean, they're kind of fun. Like, I like having midday games, like especially if you're at work or you're working from home. It's nice to have a famous Idaho's Potato Bowl game on.
I will say this is the first year I've done a confidence pool. So you make every pick against the spread. You know 1 to 41, which one it's worth that amount of points.
Yep.
That's really fun because you don't have to bet on every game, but you still have something to root for. I would highly suggest that next year because this is my first year doing it. But that's about all the input I have.
My question, I think, for you guys, would any of you watch any of these games that are outside of like the New Year's Six and the college football playoff if you didn't have these pools, if you didn't have any money on them?
No. If I'm at work and I just like have it on, that's different. But like at night and I'm hanging out with friends and family, I'm not going to sit there and be like, hey guys, can you pull up San Jose, Eastern Michigan? I really need to see the score right now.
I feel like these games do not matter at all anymore. Like it's crazy. I mean, I don't know if they've always been like this, but for me, like at this point in my life, I'm realizing now more than ever, I feel like these games mean literally nothing.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Yeah. I mean, with the amount of opt-outs and just like the fan attendance at these games is like laughable. And every single bowl game is lying about their attendance because I think it's just like, how many tickets did we give away? That's what we're going to say our attendance is. Because if anybody watched the Idaho Potatoes Bowl today, they said they had 10,500 people at that game. There may have been more people at your local women's JV high school basketball game. I mean, there was nobody there.
They have to be counting players and personnel and coaches and staff.
Workers and
And
literally
potatoes, like the amount of potatoes they had there.
I will say, in terms of like the bowl games being important, it is interesting to me because obviously the playoffs matter. Some of the New Year's Six still matter, kinda. But I do think some of these lower end bowls matter to some of these teams because, coaches for Eastern Michigan or Toledo or Liberty, that's kind of what they hang their hat on still, is if they can go and win the bowl games. But then you get like does Kansas State, Alabama, other than the drama with Saban, is that bowl really going to matter? Both of those teams probably don't particularly care to be playing in that. So it's like the two extremes matter, but then the middle is just a jumbled mess.
Yeah, and then you get the weird part where it's these like lower end Power Fives where they don't care, but they need to make these bowl games to look like they're not bad, but they don't care about the actual bowl game. It's just, but also these coaches care because then they're like, hey, I'm a Duke's Mayo Bowl champ. I deserve a raise. But like, does that actually matter?
I think the practices matter more. I mean, Kalani's referenced it multiple times. Like, yeah, we got extra practices with our younger guys. Like, if you don't go to a bowl game, you don't get those practices. So like, I'm like, okay, that's an interesting way to look at it. He literally references that every time we go to one of these crappy bowls, which we've been in for the past, however many years of independence. So like, that's kind of cool. Like I guess you get more practicing. So
I feel like that's interesting too, because I mean, I guess that makes, I think that makes sense because like, also there's no pressure going into these bowl games.
Yeah.
No one's going to be like, oh, we lost the freaking Gasparilla Bowl.
Yeah,
my
our
life's
program's
ruined.
never going to recover. You can play a bunch of people that you've never played the whole entire season and just be like, good luck. Like, let's see how you perform under college lights. Like, I guess that's the best things. Like, you just kind of use as the development stage. I don't know. I guess that's
it's
the best
weird. It's weirdly preseason, but postseason.
Yeah, exactly. That's pretty much where we're at. Like what Dylan said, the spectrum of like how important it is to how unimportant it is for some teams is crazy. Feels like there's no middle ground. It's either like we do not care whatsoever, or this is like a program defining game. Like that's literally what we're looking at. So it's kind of interesting.
You guys want to let's take a quick break and then roll into the NFL?
Deal.
All right, let's do the NFL. But before we get into the games, real quick, obviously, if you're watching this or listening, you probably haven't heard Connor's voice. Happy birthday, Connor. He is not on this one. Could not be here. Scheduling conflict, driving right now. So happy birthday. I do have his pick for the parlay. He said we have to decide between two. So we'll get into those. But let's start off Jacksonville. Thursday night, Jacksonville at the New York Jets. Jags -1, over under 38. I mean, you know whose time it is.
Boys, the fact, we talked a little about this beforehand, but I think we're all on the same wavelength there, which is a little scary that we're all feeling the Jets on a comeback here. So both teams need this game big time. Both teams are actually in playoff contention, which is crazy to me that you're saying the Jets and Jaguars are both in potential playoff talk in the year of 2022. That's wild. But that's where we're at. That's the reality of the situation. So this game is a big primetime game. Have we seen Zach play on primetime yet? I can't remember the last time we've seen that.
I don't know.
I know he's played in London. Does that count?
Mm-mm.
He did not fare well against the Falcons. So I guess the only reference we have is the London game. Yeah, I don't think we've seen too much of the Jets on primetime. They don't really put them on primetime, so that'll be interesting. Yeah, man. I mean, it's pretty much a pick 'em at this point. Jets last home game of the year. It'll be very interesting. I'm gonna ride the Jets again. I backed off from my heavy play of last week. I only went with a little bit after saying I was gonna go with a lot, which I'm glad I did because I ended up losing. I mean, it's a must win for the Jets, plain and simple. They have to win this game. Literally have to win this game because if you don't win this one, you're probably not making the playoffs. Like it's almost a guarantee.
Is this would it be beneficial for the Jets for this to be a road game instead of a home game for Zach Wilson's sanity
No,
and confidence?
No, it doesn't really matter. He's gonna have 2 road games. Well, I don't know if he's gonna get them, but someone's gonna get 2 road games after this game. So, no, I don't think so. I mean, he had some boos last Sunday, right? After like his third quarter wasn't good. But no, I mean, MetLife is not really a big home field advantage. Like, to be honest, like MetLife is not that big of a
That's
home
what I'm
field.
saying.
Yeah, but it's like this. It's like at least it's neutral, right? It's not like.
But what I'm saying is those fans are going to be ready to boo Zach Wilson at any given chance.
They are, but here's like Mike White's hurt, so they can't call for Mike White. They might boo him, but it's like, who cares? Like, he was booed in the third quarter, and he played a pretty good fourth quarter.
But that's what I'm saying. If the game was on the road away from Jets fans, would it be beneficial for him not to hear those boos, maybe have a little more confidence, not having the pressure of those fans getting ready to just breathe down his neck?
I mean, maybe, but like I said, I think for the most part, it's pretty neutral for him. So it is what it is, man. But it's a must-win game. Gotta win the game. Jags are riding hot. They just beat the Cowboys. That's the thing. It's like emotional letdown. I know we talked about this, right? Emotional letdown. Jets need the game. Like, I don't know. I just like the Jets spot here. I think they're gonna get Quentin Williams back, which is a big deal. They didn't have him last week, which was they could not get a pass rush without him. They might have Corey Davis back, so some weapons coming back. Like, and then you have a whole week basically of Zach that had been able to come back from that like 3-week hiatus, might be able to find his stride a little bit better than what he had Sunday. I mean, that's a big if, but if he does, right, plays a little bit more consistent, they should be fine. So it should be a fun game. I think it's gonna be a close game, but I do give the edge to the Jets here just because, like I said, it's a must win after this emotional letdown from the Jags. So we'll see.
Dylan, what do you have in this game?
I do like the Jets here. It's like pretty much about a pick 'em no matter where you look at it. Both defenses are actually really good against the run, allowing less than 4.5 yards per rush attempt. So I think both of these quarterbacks are going to try and air it out against some good rush defenses. I don't really know. Like, part of me wants to take interception props, but BetMGM has them up and they're like -200 and -145. So I mean, there's no.
They always have bad odds though.
Jeez, bro.
That's true. This is the only place I could find it right now. So maybe closer to game time, FanDuel will have them up. But
Maybe a little bit better.
yeah, the only other thing I could think of were maybe pass attempt overs for both of these guys. If they're not going to find success on the ground, they're going to have to try and air it out. So, but I can't find a place for that. So Jets for sure. Follow me on Twitter. I'll tweet out if anything else is enticing.
Gosh dang it, guys. We're all on the Jets. I like the Jets in this one. The Jags are riding a little too high for me right now. But man, that Jets-Lions game was so brutal. It was so brutal. Like, they got to bounce back this week. I don't know. Like, my head is in such a mental pretzel with the Jets because I hear all the Jets propaganda from Grant every week, but I also see how amazing the defense is. But then when I actually watch their offense, I want to, like, my eyes bleed watching Zach Wilson miss the easiest throws ever, and I can't decide if they're actually good or not. Just in a pretzel, but I'm going to go with the Jets just because I think their defense is going to get to Trevor Lawrence. I don't think that Jags O-line is very good. And I do like Trevor Lawrence rush yards, though. He's going to have to scramble and get away. I like Trevor Lawrence rush yards, but I will be taking the Jets as of now, unless something changes. Like Dylan said, follow on Twitter if anything changes for that one.
Yeah. I mean, Carter, you watched the game last week. Who would you put the blame on most?
Oh, it's the offensive line, no doubt.
That's your number one for the reason why they lost the game.
The Lions in the Lions game?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you could say the kicker, but like,
special teams did allow a touchdown. The first touchdown of the game was a special team punt. That was just
you could say special teams too, like kicking and special teams. But I mean, like, Zach had no time to throw, but like,
no,
I don't know.
You're right. That's what concerns me in these games is like, bro, they cannot protect. Mike White is literally out because he actually was like folded like an origami. Like, he literally was murdered. Like, just 2 weeks ago against the Bills. Like, he's not out because he's on vacation. He's out because he literally got his ribs fractured because they couldn't protect him. Because so this is the same line that couldn't protect Zach last week. Like, I don't think they're going to change. I don't know how well, like, I know Jacksonville has a semi-good rush, I guess. I think their safeties are really good. Their cornerbacks are a little suspect, but like, I don't know, man. That's what scares me. Is like, if you can't establish a run game, I don't know how realistic it is for any quarterback to be able to win this game. That's the only concern I have.
All right, let's move on. We have Saturday football this week, Christmas Eve.
Oh,
Like
Ho, ho, ho.
you know when like your parents let you open the gift on Christmas Eve and you're like, let's go, this is amazing. We get this like an insane amount on Saturday. It's phenomenal. Saturday, the Detroit Lions are at my sweet, sweet Carolina Panthers at Bank of America Stadium in Charlotte. Detroit -2.5, over under 44. Before we get into the lines of this game and what's going on, the Panthers, the hilarious thing is like everything fell in place perfectly on Sunday to where nothing changed at all in the division. The Panthers still have the tiebreakers. If the Panthers went out, they still win this division. It's still in their hands. The loss of the Steelers is still meaningless, which I mentioned before. This is must win. You got to win this game because Tampa Bay gets the Cardinals. I can't remember. Who did the Falcons play again? Falcons
they play
Baltimore, so they're probably not winning that one. Desmond Ridder looks bad. And then the New Orleans Saints have the Browns. That one's going to be a weird one. So you're mainly worrying about the Bucs there. Must win game for the Carolina Panthers. And you know what I don't like is when it's a must win, the pressure's on, and your quarterback is Sam Darnold. Those things kind of don't mix.
USC legend.
But with that being said, I actually like Carolina if you can get it at +3. I like Carolina at +3. This is going to be a close game. This is not going to be a blowout either side. This is going to be come down, last second field goal, heartbreaker for either side. It's going to be like 23-25 final. Weird score, but if you can get Carolina +3, I like it. 2.5, I'd probably lean the Lions. Yep. This Carolina defense looked bad. They could not get. They got like no pressure against the Steelers, and with this Detroit Lions offensive line, expect them to be able to throw the ball and attack Keith Taylor. He was getting put in a blender by Deontay Johnson. Dante Foreman's not healthy. That's just a matter of fact. He's not healthy. He looks slow. His foot's hurting. But you get the Panthers +3. I like it. 2.5. I would take the Lions. I'm honestly probably going to stay away from the game. I don't like genuinely love each side. It's going to be a heartbreaking loss on either side of the ball.
Yeah. So go ahead, Dylan.
This is the article for the week. And this happens very rarely, but I already have my pick, especially if it's going to stay the same. And the perk of being a CarterCast listener, you get exclusive access. So it is going to be Detroit -2.5. Yep. And if it stays 2.5, if it doesn't get to 3, it's probably going to be the article pick. If not, I'll have to find something else. Panthers defense has taken a pretty big regression since how they started at the beginning of the year. Third most defensive penalty yards. Both teams love to blitz, top 10 in blitz rate, but the Lions perform so much better under a blitz than the Panthers do. It's actually kind of astonishing. The Lions QBR increases 15 points when they're getting blitzed compared to when they're not getting blitzed. And the Panthers are averaging 1.5 yards less per play when their opponent is blitzing them on offense. Detroit converting on third down almost 15% more than Carolina is. Scoring touchdowns in the red zone 20% more often. And Detroit's averaging 2.5 points per drive. So, but on the positive side for Carolina, all the stats point to Detroit here. But on the positive side for Carolina, this is when you find out if Sam Darnold's legit or not, because this is the first vulnerable pass defense that he's playing. Is he going to be able to turn it on like he did back in like the 2017 Rose Bowl against Ohio State? And we'll see.
We're getting a Rose Bowl reference from 2017. This man is Pac-12, Mr. Pac-12. Period.
That's done my research.
I mean, this is one of the, if not the hottest team in football right now. Like they've won like 6 now out of 7. It's wild. This team after Hard Knocks, I was so behind them because of Jamal Williams, obviously BOE product. I just wanted them to be so good this year, and like they really let me down early on, so I kind of like gave up on them. And then having been able to watch them this past week, I'm really impressed with what they've kind of become. Like they're pretty good. Like the defense is much improved. They are able to stop the run really, really well. And on top of that, like they can move the football. They can run the football and they can definitely throw the football. So like I'm impressed, man. They got weapons. Jared Goff's been pretty consistent. I like you said, I don't know how you can bet against this Lions team right now. They're very, very hot. The -2.5, I do like, but I'm with you, Carter. I could see this game for sure coming down to a close one, just like it did with the Jets. But there's no way it could be on the Carolina side. So this is a stay away game for me. It feels like a 100% live bet. If I can see Carolina go up early somehow, then I would hammer the Lions side. But I definitely lean the Lions for sure.
Yeah, the other thing with the Panthers is if the Panthers they're kind of like in the Mac Jones range. We talked about this a lot last year, Grant, is if they're down 10 plus, or if they're down 2 scores, they can't win a game.
Yep.
Sam Darnold's not capable of bringing them back. This is one last thing, and then we'll move on from this game. This is more like of a mental, thing or whatever, kind of talking about the home game thing. Carolina is kind of like it's sneaky like the Chargers, where it's almost all visiting fans at these games. I mean, a lot of transplant fans in Charlotte, whatever. You can say what you want. But you look at their home games, the games where they've had a strong fan base of another team, like if the Cowboys come to town or if the Niners come to town and it's a giant Niners crowd, giant Steelers crowd, then they typically lose those games. Like the Browns, Panthers, not a ton of Browns fans, mostly Carolina. Close game. Carolina should have won that game. Saints at home. Carolina wins that game. Not a lot of Saints fans are going to we're in Carolina for that one. But then you play the Niners. It was an all Niners crowd. And that's when Matt Rule lost his job. So what a great game that was. Tampa Bay in Carolina. There's not going to be any Bucs fans there. Carolina wins 21-3. And then you move on to when they play the Falcons. There's no Falcons fans at the Panthers game. Panthers win. And then Denver in Carolina. There were that was probably the most between all of those games. Quite a few Denver fans, but not that many. I mean, you went to that Jets game week 1 last year. It was almost all Jets fans. It wasn't that bad in the Broncos game. Panthers win. And then Steelers game, it was all Steelers fans. It was literally, if you watch any of the videos on tailgates, the crowd 60-70% Steelers fans. Steelers win 24-16. There's not going to be Lions fans at this game. There's probably going to be 5%, 10% Lions fans at this game. So give me I don't know, man. It feels like Carolina's going to lose on a last-second field goal.
Quick backup stat. I have not shared this resource with you guys. I definitely will after this because I completely forgot. But I found this really cool website that it quantifies home field advantage for each team. So it's generally accepted home field's worth like 1.5, maybe 2 points. Yeah. The Carolina Panthers, Bank of America Stadium, last 16 weeks, it's accounted for almost 5.5 points in home field advantage. That's the 5th most in the NFL. So that kind of goes to your point that, Carolina might have more advantage at home than other places.
But it has to be against a team that does not have a strong, loyal fan base. So whenever, Cowboys or Niners or Steelers, those fans are everywhere across the country. They just destroy that stadium, and then it becomes a home game for them. That's just fair. How it is. But anyhow, we've talked way too long on the Jets, Zach Wilson, and the Carolina Panthers. Let's move on. The New Orleans Saints at the Cleveland Browns. Browns -2.5, over under 32. Dylan, I mean, you just go ahead.
Yeah, I don't want to spend too much time on this. I don't have any stats or anything, but in my mind, we saw a huge overreaction to weather issues in the Buffalo-Miami game last week. And I think we're supposed to see some winds. We're supposed to see some cold weather. I would be worried if there was a team being involved in this game that is known to air the ball out, and none of these teams are really known for that. So the cold weather, the wind doesn't matter for the Browns if they're just running the ball with Nick Chubb and Kareem Hunt. So I'm on the over, and I did something I don't normally do. It probably wasn't smart. I caught a bad number, and then it got worse, and then I reloaded that number. So I have over 34, over 32, over 31.5. And then I am on the Browns here -3 because I do think that out of the Saints or the Browns skill set, it is better for cold, windy weather than the Saints.
True. Unless they unleash Taysom Hill, then everything goes out the window.
That's true. I did not think about the Mormon powers.
If he plays quarterback, I don't know. Well, that helps the over, but I don't know if it helps the Browns, right? So we'll see. But no, I mean, it's a weird game, right? It's like these two teams are just it's just a weird game. I don't really love it. I'm with Dylan, though. I lean the Browns in this one. I don't think I'm going to bet it at all, but I might bet the over with you, Dylan, just so I can be on it and so we can talk about it. Because at this point, let's see if those points hit.
I know everyone's saying they're on the over and whatever. I'm on the over too. I actually like the 32 points is so low. It's so, and Dylan mentioned it, is if this was a team, let's say like Kansas City, where they heavily rely on throwing the ball, I would be worried in 25-mile-per-hour winds and cold weather. But like these teams both run the ball. They're ground and pound, nitty gritty teams. My one concern is Nick Chubb going to play? He missed practice today. He is questionable going into this game. That does scare me.
That's huge.
Even if he doesn't, though, I trust Kareem Hunt enough. Like Kareem Hunt, out of all the number 2 running backs I could have in the league, he's probably the top one.
True.
I do want to add, Cade York has been awful this year as a kicker. So maybe the wind will make some of his bad kicks go in.
No, he's terrible. And he hit a 58-yarder on the Panthers, and we would be winning the division right now if Cade York wouldn't have hit that 58-yarder week 1.
Jeez, Carter, that was so long ago.
Yeah.
How'd you pull that one out of the index?
Because I am a degenerate Carolina Panthers fan. We're far and few between. Let's move on. Buffalo at Chicago. Buffalo -9. Over under 40 in Chicago. Grant.
Yeah. I hate these huge lines, bro. I hate especially with Justin Fields. You don't really know what's going to happen. Like, I do not like any of this. I'm not going to take a side. I don't really want to take it over. And this is a complete stay away from me. I have nothing for this game. All I know is I think the Bills are dominant, but 9 is so many points. It's way too many points.
This is another one. I kind of like the over again. Both of these teams are well suited for cold weather. The Bills aren't a stranger to this cold weather, and the Bears definitely aren't. Now we've seen some issues with the Bills getting their run game going. It's gotten a little bit better as of late, but I do trust Justin Fields to get it done with his legs. David Montgomery, great running back. So, what was the over under at again?
40.
Yeah, I think this is over on this one too.
I like the over here too.
People overreact. That's the one thing. People overreact to injuries. They overreact to weather. They overreact to coaching changes. The people just overreact to these things. And a lot of the times, what it's really worth isn't what the public thinks.
100%. It's true.
Absolutely. But the spread's kind of weird. These Bears spreads, like, they're funky, man. They're funky because, like, it's kind of weird because you always think, oh, well, 9, they could get a garbage touchdown to cover. But also, typically what happens in these Bears games is the other team gets a garbage touchdown to cover their big spread to beat the Bears by 10 plus.
Yeah.
Go ahead. Sorry.
I was just going to say, I think with the way the Bills defense is kind of set up, to me, it feels like there's going to be a lot of bad from Justin Fields and a lot of good. So, like, you're going to have, like, the both spectrums, because if they miss, like, they're very vulnerable to the run.
And that's beautiful for the over.
Yeah, exactly. So that's why I kind of understand that. But I think there's also going to be a lot of bad, like, pick central for sure. Like, if they can get a hold of him and he starts making dumb throws, it's going to be bad.
The weather in Chicago really isn't even supposed to be that bad. It's just going to be cold. I'm seeing partly cloudy, 13-mile-per-hour winds, 12 degrees. So it's not like it's going to be very windy.
No, that's not bad at all. Let's move on. Your team, this isn't your team. The Houston Texans are playing your team, the Tennessee Titans. Looks like Ryan Tannehill might be out. In Nashville, Titans -5, over under 37. We did this last time they played the Texans, and you should do it every time. Do we just hammer the Derrick Henry props no matter what the number is?
I lean towards it. This week they opened up at like 103 or 104 for Henry props playing, and the Chargers have an awful rush defense too. So if they might open this up at like 110, and at that point I'd be like, I don't know. But Tennessee, surprisingly, almost 12 yards per catch on offense, 7.5 yards per pass attempt. You wouldn't think that from Tennessee. They just don't pass the ball enough. You know, those numbers are inflated because there aren't a lot of attempts. Texans allowing 167 rush yards per game. And Titans still one of the best rush defenses in the league. I don't know. I think Malik Willis is going to play, and that might work to our advantage. If we can have Derrick Henry run the ball and Malik Willis run the ball, we might be set up okay. We really just have to win this game. I am going to take the Titans -5.5, and then Henry rush yards, like you said. I'll have to see when the number comes out, but he's owned the Texans the last 3 years on the ground. So.
I'm not going to disagree with that. I don't want to lay 5 with I don't want to lay 5 with the Titans here. They're in a free fall. I don't want to. And Malik Willis, he flat out can't throw the ball. I know that the Texans' rush defense is one of the worst in the league, if not the worst. But 5's too many points. But I don't want to bet on the Texans. Complete stay away from me on that side. This is a must-win game for the Titans, man. Like, if they lose this game, it's probably over.
Yeah, you're right. It's not looking great for us. And, firing the GM, I don't know, man. It's not looking good in Tennessee.
4 straight losses. This is the perfect time to play Houston, though, and get right.
Yeah, get right
game for sure. If anybody couldn't be anybody better. Houston, you'll take it any time of the day. I do lean the points. Taking the with Dylan, like what he said, basically with the -5. I'd lean that, but other than that, I got nothing else, boys.
Right. Divisional unders have been great this year. Something to look at. Under 37.5. We're not going to be passing the ball this game if Malik's playing. So just something to think about.
Yep.
Cincinnati at New England. Cincinnati -3.5. Over under 41.5. Man, they're the Cincinnati -3.5s are like the biggest pretzel trap lines in my head, because I'm like, Cincinnati is definitely 3.5 points better than the Patriots. But what kind of Belichick magic is he going to cook up in this game?
Enough to cover the 3.5.
You think so?
I don't know. I don't know, man. It's like you said, it's such a bad line. I can't bet against the Bengals, and I won't bet against the Bengals because, like I said, I could totally see them covering that. But again, I don't like that. I don't like betting against. I just don't like it, bro. I don't like it because I think he can cover that. I really do. Key him.
I won't be taking this game. If I do, I think I genuinely would be taking the Patriots. It makes no sense at all. I think I would be taking the Patriots. Imagine the practices this week in New England right now after what happened in Vegas.
Bro, not good.
I plead the fifth. I'm seriously abstaining from all Patriots games.
Oh, there you go. You're just not talking about it. That's what I like that. I like that. True to your word. All right. But yeah, man, I think I might end up taking the Patriots. I'll follow me on Twitter to keep updated on that. I'm going to tweet my picks Saturday morning. I'm going to tweet my picks. I'll put it on cartercast.com this week for you. I'm going to put the anytime touchdown list on there too, because the anytime touchdowns have been money for me. It has been profitable every single week for me. So we're going to keep this going. Seattle, Kansas City -9.5, over under 48.5. This game screams over.
Over, big time. Chiefs cannot play any defense. Both scoring on over 40% of their possessions. Both over 7.5 pass yards per attempt. Both converting on third down over 40% of the time. Both average more than 2.2 yards or points per drive. Seattle making a lot more field goals, which is surprising. Like 20% more field goals. Butker's been awful this year, which is not like him. He's normally pretty good. I am on the over. I'm also going to take Seattle in the points. The Chiefs, 5-10 against the spread in the last 15 games where they're more than a field goal favorite. They don't cover big spreads. We've said it for the past 2 years, it feels like. So give me the over and give me Seattle +9.5.
I'm the same. I literally have Seattle. I don't have the over, but I have Seattle with the points for sure in this game. I just can't, like I said, I just love betting against what everyone just loves betting on the Chiefs. They love putting money on the Chiefs, and I'll take the other side all the time. Like, if the lines like that, I'll take it all day. Because if it's over, it was like the 6 and 6.5 line that they always kept getting. They can never cover it. It's like, give me 9.5, and I'll live with Gino doing whatever he does.
I'm looking here. The Seahawks have been in a free fall. Losing to the Panthers and the 49ers. I don't know if that's necessarily a free fall, though. People may be overreacting to the Seahawks, quote unquote, free fall, because I just think those defenses are just a lot to handle for the Seahawks. Mm-hmm. And the one thing is, I would take every Pat Mahomes passing prop in this game, because the Seahawks run or pass rush is so bad, is so bad. They made Sam Darnold and Brock Purdy look like Pro Bowl quarterbacks. And so Pat Mahomes is going to have all the time in the world to throw. I really like whatever his yards are. I think I might take it. I might take an alternate line too, but I like the over. 9.5 is weird. I would lean the Seahawks. in Kansas City. My question to you guys is, did the Seahawks make the playoffs? It's basically between them, the Commanders, and the Lions. Because it looks like the Cowboys and the Giants have locked up the 5-6 spots, correct?
Well, the Seahawks are most likely going to lose this week and next week when they play the Jets. So,
And they close with the Rams.
Yeah, so they're going to lose 2 out of 3 most likely. Just kidding. I don't know if they'll lose 2 out of 3, but I can see them losing 2 out of 3.
It's tough. Like, conversation like that, it's tough when I don't have the schedule in front of me. But, like, I don't know.
I have it right here, so I'll read it. So the Seahawks schedule is they play Kansas City, then the Jets, then the Rams.
Yeah.
So we're thinking 1 and 2 there, correct?
Yeah.
2 and 1, 1 and 2.
Yeah, one of those.
I feel like if the Jets lose this week, then they might just be like, okay, might be over kind of thing. So then it's an advantage for Seattle, and it's in Seattle. The Lions, they play the Panthers, the Bears, the Packers. 3 extremely winnable games. They could very easily 10-7 closing out the year.
Yeah.
They're gonna be a tough team out in the playoffs. I promise you, bro. They're good. They're like
imagine you're the 2 seed and you have to play the Lions when the 3 seed gets to play the Giants, or the 5 seed gets to play the Bucks.
Exactly. I would way rather play those teams.
And then the Commanders is 49ers, Browns, Cowboys. Ugh. It has to be the Lions, right?
I would like to see the Commanders make it in there. I think they're probably the best out of the 3 teams that are left. But I would have to say from that, it would have to be the Lions.
Yeah. And the Giants' schedule is Vikings, Colts, Eagles, and the Eagles aren't going to give a crap about that last game. Yeah. So Giants should go 2-1 there.
Yeah.
You don't think there's, I don't know what it's like in the NFC East, but there's no part of the Eagles that are going to be like, we want to keep the Giants out of the playoffs.
True.
What scares me, and we'll get into this game this week, maybe Gardner Minshew just poops on the Giants.
The Cowboys this week?
Well, let me see here. It's not our next game. We'll get into that one in a little bit.
Okay.
But the New York Giants are facing the Minnesota Vikings. In Minnesota, the Vikings are -3.5, over under 48. It looks like it's going to get down to -3. It's pretty heavily juiced at +3.5 at -115, -120 on some places. So it looks like it's going to be -3. Am I crazy? I like the Vikings.
Wouldn't have you known the Vikings to win by more than 4?
Straight up.
I don't know, but I kind of like the Vikings. Like, I feel like winning that big game is kind of a monkey. Like, finally winning the division just got that monkey off their back a little bit. And there's no pressure really going into this game.
I don't know.
But like with the other side of the Vikings is, don't you want to lose right now to kind of face the Giants possibly? Like, wouldn't you rather face the Giants in the 3-6 matchup rather than the Lions in a 2-7?
Well, the one seed still up for grabs at all? I think that's probably what they're gonna. They're probably not concerned about who they're gonna play. They're probably gonna play for that 1 seed until they're mathematically eliminated from getting it.
Yeah,
that's fair.
Yeah, they ain't thinking like we have to lose this game for that reason at all.
No, but the Eagles are 13-1, and I think with Gardner Minshew they could probably win. They just have to win 1 game left because they have the tiebreaker over the Vikings.
Yeah.
That's true. I hear what you're saying. I like the Giants here, and really just for one reason. The Giants blitz the most in the NFL, and the Vikings have not shown me anything that would tell me that they can perform well against the blitz. Dallas, Philadelphia got blown out by both those teams, 2 teams that are top 10 in blitz rate. And the Giants can pressure a quarterback. Kirk, if there's one move that Kirk loves, is to get that snap and then just curl into a ball and fall on the ground. So I expect to see a lot of that. Both these teams are kind of frauds, if we're being honest. It's like a fraud off almost. But I would back the Giants here solely because of that, because they blitz, and the Vikings haven't proven to me that they can do anything when their opponents blitz them.
You fully convinced me away from the Vikings. I only needed a little bit of convincing, but you hit everything on the nail. The Kirk Cousins curling up in the fetal position, the Giants blitzing and Kirk Cousins not being able to handle the blitz. The other Kirk Cousins thing I'll bring up is, as someone who had a bunch of Vikings futures this year, it is so frustrating watching this team and seeing him getting ready to scramble and run, and the slightest thing makes him fall. The slightest thing. The freaking big bad wolf from those childhood books just blow on him and he falls. He just trips on the turf. He falls all the time at the line of scrimmage. It's like that blue line on TV. He just trips over the imaginary blue line somehow. He can never make it past the line of scrimmage on his scrambles.
It is weird, bro. That is weird. I'm not touching this game, boys. This is an untouchable game for me. Like, it's like what Dylan said. It's the battle of the frauds. I refuse to pick a side out here.
Whoop, whoop, whoop. Breaking news. Whoop, whoop, whoop. Graham Mertz transferring to Florida.
Whoa. Okay.
Breaking news on the Carter cast.
Yeah.
I kind of hate Florida now. Like, ugh.
Big Ten football worldwide.
He's going to get killed.
He doesn't want to be in the same division as Cade. I get it.
Is Billy Napier a fraud?
Yeah, I think he kind of is. If he can't do it with Anthony Richardson, you're going to do it with Graham Mertz? Come on now.
Exactly. They did beat potential Rose Bowl champs Utah, though.
That's true.
So,
that's a stab in the heart, is Mr. Pac-12.
I know. But, all right, let's move on. Atlanta at Baltimore. Birds game, Falcons-Ravens. Ravens minus 7.5, over under 37.5. I mean, laying 7, I think Lamar should be back for this game. So I do lean Ravens here. I kind of just want to take the Ravens on like a money line parlay, but like, do I really? Like, I just should stay away from this game, right?
Yeah, I took 6.5 on the look ahead, and literally just because I got that, I was going through the games, doing the research. I was like, yeah, I'll just skip over this one. So I have nothing to add.
Nice. I do kind of like the moneyline parlay. If we cook one up, Carter, I kind of like that.
Yeah, because I mean, Ritter's still starting, right?
Yeah,
I think so.
He looked terrible.
Yeah,
he looked genuinely terrible. But Tyler Algier looked.
You know
phenomenal.
who didn't? Our sweet boy Tyler Algier, dude.
Some are saying he might be the best running back in the NFL.
Oh my gosh! Look, I'm biased. I know that's like one guy, bro.
I was making a joke.
He is very good, though. He's very, very good.
Yeah, I don't have much to add for this one. Like, I think Baltimore wins comfortably. It'll be like it's gonna be a funky score game, you know, one of those 19-26s. Like, for some reason, it's gonna be one of those. But Commanders at the 49ers, 49ers minus 7, over under 39. Once again, I don't have a feel for this one.
Oh, this is one of the biggest feels of the weekend.
Really?
This game is going under all the way. All the way. I was shocked to see that it was at 39.5. This 49ers rush defense is obviously one of the best in the league. And the Commanders defense is sneaky good as well. Let's see. I have like 8,000 stats here. I'll try to give you the Cliff Notes version. Both bottom third in yards per play allowed. 49ers do commit a little bit more defensive penalty yards than the Commanders. Very similar in terms of the pressure they create. Again, 49ers have a defensive advantage against the rush. Washington surprisingly forces more quarterback knockdowns and pressure percentage on opposing quarterbacks. And they are allowing less than 7 yards per pass attempt. Both allowing less than 40% third down conversion, under all the way. Two pseudo inexperienced quarterbacks. We can say Heineke's experienced, but he was not the starter. And under all the way. I love this under. I also like Washington plus 7.5. I have that for a unit, but under's the big play here. Under.
Nice. You talked me into it, Dylan. That'll be my one under this week that I'll play.
Let's go.
I actually kind of like it too. I mean, it makes sense. This Washington offense, like you think of the receivers and you think, oh, Heineke's kind of frisky a little bit. Are they? Like, they don't score over 20 points.
Yeah.
You look at their last games, they scored 12 against the Giants, 20 against the Giants, 19 against the terrible Falcons defense, 23 against the terrible Texans defense, 32 against the Eagles, kind of an anomaly here. That was their highest scoring game of the season. And then the Lions early on in the season when the Lions defense was awful. They only scored 17 on the Minnesota Vikings defense. 17 on the Vikings. The Colts offense didn't score 36, but they scored 36 points on that Vikings team. And the Colts are one of the worst offenses I've ever seen in NFL history. And they scored 17 on the Colts, 12 on the Bears, 12 on the Bears.
Yeah.
17 on the Titans against this Niners defense. Dylan, I love that pick. I know I'm an overs guy, but I do love that pick. But it kind of scares me how much we all love that pick.
Carter, hey, Chase Young might be back.
Chase Young might
he might be back.
Chase Young might be back. I'm in. You guys got me in.
How does that not hit, though?
How does that not hit, though?
How does it not hit, though?
All right, moving on. The Gardner Minshew-led Philadelphia Eagles against the Dallas Cowboys. Cowboys minus 4.5, over under 46. Neither of these teams really need this game this week. Dallas is kind of locked into the 5 seed because they can't win the division. The Eagles are almost guaranteed to have the 1 seed in the NFC, and they already locked up the division. So this game really doesn't matter, even though it's a high-profile game. I mean, why not just take the points with the Eagles? They have no pressure.
Yeah, I mean, you know how I like to fade, overreactions to quarterbacks being out. So I am.
And the line moved like 5 points.
Yeah, for like 5.5, whatever it's at, 5. I would take the Eagles here. Divisional unders. I actually got it before the news came out, so I have 51.5. But divisional unders, I will tell you to blindly bet those all season. They're hitting at like 60%. Just divisional unders. So
there you go.
I don't know, man. I'm with you guys normally always on the, fade the public on the how much it swings. To me, this feels like a first half Cowboys bet, not the full game. Kind of like, let them break in Gardner Minshew because he hasn't played in forever. So like take basically the Cowboys side of that, not too many points. If you can get under 3, I'd love that. That's when I'm gonna roll with this game. So this will be a first half bet for me with Dallas. But yeah, the full game kind of freaks me out. I don't really love the full game spread.
I don't hate that. One thing I will add for this one. Is this a Gardner Minshew, playing for Mike Leach kind of game?
Was he a Mississippi State guy?
No, Washington State.
Oh, yes.
He just spoke at Mike Leach's funeral today.
Jeez.
Oh man, I didn't know about that.
Jeez.
That brings in a whole nother aspect.
As crazy as it sounds, actually kind of makes me love the Cowboys first half. Even not because
still feeling down.
Just because he's his mind's elsewhere. He's focused. It's going to take him a little bit to reacclimate in the game. Give me first half, bro. Like I said, then they can come back.
All right. But I thought I'd throw that out there. These teams are kind of useless now. The Raiders at the Steelers. Steelers minus 3 over under 39. Stay away. And this is the Saturday night football game?
Yep.
Why? Flex it, please. Why would you not flex this?
I lean the Steelers here. I'm just going to trust the better defense. The Raiders have a great passing offense, but the Steelers do get it done on defense. I saw that Pickett's supposed to be starting, so that's a high note. I'd rather have him than Trubisky. I'm just shifting through the notes here. Raiders allowing obviously a higher third down percentage conversion rate and red zone conversion rate on defense. I trust the Steelers here.
Yeah, it's going to be a cold Pittsburgh game.
This one's one of those like like Steelers. Just like I don't know how anyone's had a pulse on this team all year. They've been so. Don't
bet this game. Just enjoy Christmas Eve with your family.
Yeah, that's exactly what this sounds like. You're right, Carter.
Come on. The Hawaii Bowl will be on. You can watch that instead.
That's Memphis, right? Hawaii Bowl's Memphis and
Utah State.
Oh gosh, Utah State's
that's amazing. That's a 4-unit game for me.
Yeah, that's a murderer's row right there for Utah State. They're about to get dominated. I hear like 10 of their players are.
Nope. Hawaii Bowl is Middle Tennessee, San Diego State. Nothing in that one.
Oh, the blue mixed me up. Okay.
Yep. First Responder Bowl is what we're thinking of.
How did I mix those up?
I don't know, man.
Bowl and the First Responder Bowl.
The First Responders Bowl is some people say it's better than the Rose Bowl. But
I heard that. Yeah.
I lean the Steelers here too. I mean, the Raiders coming off maybe the luckiest win we've ever seen in the NFL. In the cold, can the Raiders play in the cold? I mean, it's going to be cold Pittsburgh, so
It's a tough
That's
place
true.
to play. It's a tough place to play at this time of year.
But meh. Let's move on. Christmas games. We'll kind of steamroll through these last few games. They kind of stink. Green Bay, Miami, in Miami. Dolphins -4.5. Over under 49.5. I kind of just want to take the Dolphins here and just I know it's in that like that trap line. The 4.5s are just they're gonna grab you. They're like, oh yeah, you think this team's gonna win, but I mean I lean the Dolphins here. Like it's hard not to.
Those trap lines, man.
Harder, bro. I think this is a Packers or don't bet it line to me. I don't know why, but I feel like they could lose outright. I don't know. It feels like one of those weird games where like the Packers play above what they've been playing all year just to mess with the Dolphins. Dolphins are good, like we said, but their defense is nothing to write home about. So that's the interesting fact. I don't know, man. I lean the points on this one. I don't know if it's a full unit for me, but that's where I'm going with this game. I think I'm going to lean the Packers with the points.
I read some action article. I think it was Brandon Anderson that said to get the Dolphins before Monday Night Football. Get the Packers before Monday Night Football. So I have Packers plus the 6. But other than that, like I don't have any stats or anything. I didn't look anything up. So.
I'm a huge fan of Brandon Anderson, by the way. He's actually one of my favorite people to follow on Action Network from years ago too.
No way.
Shout out Brandon Anderson. Do you know him on a personal level?
Yeah, I made an error in a tweet once. I guess if you tag somebody for the first word, it goes into a reply. It doesn't go into your main feed. And he actually like DM'd me and he said, hey, just to let you know. And we're going to set up a Zoom call once I get back from the honeymoon and talk about some stuff. So I have his phone number. He's a super nice guy.
We got to have him on the podcast.
I respect
definitely do it.
So if we need to flip that for him because like legit, like he's pretty good at what he does. And like you said, he's really good at looking ahead, like a look ahead line. Like he's one of the best at that. So I feel like that's where you're getting a lot of your information from because like, dude, he's awesome at that. He's really
for sure.
good.
We have a look ahead article every week, and it's usually just me and him. It's 2 picks, and it's mine and his. So we'll have to get him on for sure. I think he definitely would.
We got big plans coming next year. We'll talk after the show. I got some stuff in the works.
Shout out Brandon Anderson, man. Shout out Brandon Anderson.
For sure.
He's the first person you see on the Action app too, where it's like he's like plus 9,000 units for the year too. You're like, okay, really, buddy? You're 989.
We
and
trust
600.
like that. We trust like that.
He's sharp in the NBA too. Big NBA guy.
Oh,
yeah.
Maybe I gotta follow him because some of us suck here on the NBA. I'm looking here though. Back to this Dolphins Packers game. Yeah, everything is all the pressure is on the Dolphins. You mentioned that, Grant. The Dolphins are 7th currently in the AFC with the Pats and the Jets. I guess the Jaguars too, but not really. Mainly the Pats and the Jets kind of breathing down their neck. So I mean, the Dolphins. This is the must win for them.
Like if Dolphins lose, Jets win, they're in. Dolphins are out. Like that's how close it is because they have the tiebreaker.
Yeah,
that's
especially if the Jets win on Thursday, then this becomes an absolute must win for the Dolphins. Pressure's on them. There's no pressure on the Packers. They don't care. I guess they're technically still in the playoff race, but not really. They're not getting past Seattle or the Lions.
Exactly. So that's why I think that's what I'm saying. It feels like one of those weird games where like the Packers just show out and like with the points. I don't know, man.
But they also like, yes, they had a double-digit win over the Rams, but like, does that mean anything? I mean, it was at home.
Doesn't.
Exactly. But let's move on. Denver at Los Angeles. The Rams, Los Angeles. Denver -2.5, over under 36.5. I know how much you love this Denver team, Grant. So we're betting Denver, right?
I refuse, bro. I refuse. I will not touch you, Denver, ever again, ever. So I'm out. Just like Dylan said.
These Christmas Day games, like Dolphins Packers is good, but Dylan, we talked about it before the show. You're like, oh my gosh, Christmas Day is the best unders day of all time.
Oh yeah, other than the Packers Dolphins game, I'm not sure if that one gets under, but the last 2 games, it's almost like it's a late Christmas gift, or I guess an on-time Christmas gift, because you can just bet the under and you get your money and you can go do whatever you got to do. Because obviously Denver, their defense is amazing. They've been great to the under this year. They are committing the most penalty yards on offense, and it's by a huge margin. So anytime they get something going, they usually get it stopped by that. What else do I have here? Both allowing sacks on 9% of dropbacks. I mean, it's insane how many sacks they're allowing. Denver only making 75% of their field goals, and both scoring on less than 32% of their drives. Scoring, not touchdowns. That's touchdowns and field goals. So I'm going to be on under 36.5, even if Russ gets cleared to play. I actually think that helps the under more if Russ plays.
I want to take Broncos defense anytime touchdown.
Oh, that's not. I don't hate that at all.
This screams Baker Mayfield pick 6 on Christmas Day. And that's going to be my Christmas present this year is winning. It's going to be like plus 500-600, and Baker Mayfield is going to hand me 5 to 6 units on Christmas Day, baby. Give me Baker Mayfield interception, whatever it is, give it to me. Broncos defense anytime touchdown is my only play in this game.
And then post game interview, he's going to say shout out to CarterCast. Hopefully you enjoy your present.
Thank you. Yeah, exactly. Baker, do that for me, please.
Yep.
Grant, you have anything? Oh, you don't have anything. You're not allowed.
To ride with Bronco Country. No, I refuse to ride with them. I refuse.
You're not allowed. Tampa Bay at Arizona. Tampa Bay minus 6.5 over under 41.
Oh God.
I know this is gross, but I don't want to lay 6.5 with the Buccaneers.
Oh my gosh, no.
Is it Trace? It's McSorley playing in this one, right?
Oh,
I don't even think it's McCoy.
what happened to McCoy?
Trying to see here. We're getting the stats department on it shortly, but Dylan, is this an unders game?
Yeah, big time unders game. Both scoring on less than 33% of their drives. Bottom 2 in pass yards per attempt and yards per catch. What else we got here for the under?
Real quick, Colt McCoy out with a concussion. Trace McSorley is starting for the Cardinals.
I love it. Under 41.5 all the way. Both teams less than 1.75 points per drive. I just feel like I'm rattling off these stats. That's got to be boring. Just take the under. Take the under here.
Blind under, like you said. Blind unders. I love it.
Yeah, I'm going under in this one too. I honestly would lean Cardinals plus 6.5. A little frisky Trace McSorley. He's almost like the Walmart Heineke, where that's pretty low quality stuff you got there, but still frisky enough. But give me the under there. Gross game. Enjoy Christmas with your family. Play some games. Don't watch this game, please. Don't watch this game. Go play board games. Sit around a fire. Whatever.
Get some dogs like Obi. Shout out Obi.
Shout out Obi. Rest in peace, bro. Young Obi.
Obi.
And then Monday night Chargers at the Colts. Chargers -4 over under 46.5. Chargers is going to be super public. Super public.
Yep.
That's the only reason that throws me off of the Chargers. I don't have anything right now on this one. Maybe over.
Ooh, Monday night over?
Yeah, I know Jonathan Taylor's out, and this Chargers run defense isn't that great. Deion Jackson is not a bad backup.
I'm on the Colts here. I actually think I understand this is going to sound counterintuitive after what just happened last week, but the Colts defense really isn't that bad. I've seen worse defensive units. And you're exactly right. The Chargers can't defend against the run. So Colts at home plus 3.5. Chargers coming off a big win late in the game. I think I'll back the Colts here.
Chargers getting 73% of the bets, 84% of the money. Colts getting 27% of the bets, 16% of the money.
I love that.
That collapse, bro, was unbelievable how bad it was.
That's the thing. It might just shatter them, and they just might be like, it might just be done. I mean, it's obviously done. Like, Jeff Saturday's not going to be the head coach of this football team. Matt Ryan is not going to be the starting quarterback for the Colts next year. They're going to run through another old white guy at quarterback.
Zach Wilson, Matt Ryan, and Mike White.
Is that a sneaky Zach Wilson destination?
Bro, I would love – give me any place with a running game. Any place that has a good play action, I would love to see it. Give him 1 year in that and see how we can judge it from there. But no. Zach Wilson is going to be a Jet next year. As much as people are trying to wish it away, he's going to be on a Jets roster. Now, whether he starts, that is definitely to be seen.
Okay. Let's get Zach and some baby blue in Nashville. New stadium coming.
Derrick Henry.
Would you
Derrick Henry?
Could you imagine with that running game?
Could you imagine Zach Wilson, what he would do in Nashville in that scene? Downtown Nashville, those bachelorette parties would be ruined.
So those Southern moms, dude, dangerous.
All right, let's do the podcast parlay this week. Connor is not here with us, but he is with us in spirit and has sent us his pick. He said he would like us to choose between the Bills-Bears over or Packers spread. I vote Bills-Bears over.
I vote that too.
Grant?
Yeah, I'm good.
Okay, all right. So Bills-Bears over 40. I like that. I'm going over as well in a game. I'm gonna go with the Seahawks Chiefs over 48.
I like that a lot.
That is probably my favorite pick this week. I feel like, and that's a game, his odds are going to be always juiced or whatever. Still take Travis Kelce. I don't care if it's minus 150. I still think it's worth it anytime touchdown. That's how it's just going to hit. I 2 touchdowns, if it's over plus 300, I think that's also worth a shot too.
He's Mahomes' go-to guy, that's for sure. I'm going to take the Commanders 49ers under 39.5.
I love it. Oh man, this parlay's cooking. All right, Grant, take us home.
Ooh, boys, it's gonna be on me, huh? I'm not gonna do the Jets because I think we just need to change it up a little bit, and I need to go back to what I really feel most comfortable with.
Oh no, not the Cowboys first half.
It's the Cowboys first half, bro. Dude, no, it's the Cowboys first half, bro. 100%, bro.
Do you have a spread for me on that?
No, I just looked it up. It's not showing up. So I'm assuming it's just going to be 3 or under, and I would take anything under 3.
Let me get that spread real quick so I can do this. Yikes, bro.
All right, we're cooking. I'm going back to the well, baby. Carter, don't worry about that play.
2.5. 2.5.
Yeah, that plays straight money, bro.
That's nice.
There we go. We got it under 3 for once. The first half plays lately have always been like 3.5, 3. We finally got it under 3 for once. So
it's under 3.
I love this parlay. I love this parlay. I love it. It's all on Saturday. All these games are on Saturdays. No funny business. Playing on Christmas, playing on Thursday. None of that. We're doing all Saturday picks. And that's it. That is the podcast parlay this week. It is Bills, Bears over 40. Chiefs, Seahawks over 48.5. 49ers, Commanders under 39. And then Cowboys first half minus 2.5 against the Philadelphia Eagles. I love that parlay. That is hitting.
Yep.
Cha-ching. That's like you get a nice little payday on Christmas Eve, and you can do some late night shopping for any last minute Christmas.
Yeah, Santa comes early. Santa's coming after the 2:25 games on Saturday.
That is hitting, bro. I feel great about it. That's one of my favorite ones I've ever heard. I love it.
Legitimately, I've never felt better about one. I might put 2 units.
Whoa.
Wow.
Yeah, 2 units.
Ho, 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 Carter.
Yep, Santa's coming early. Santa's paying for gifts. Little Timmy's getting a new Xbox this year, courtesy of the podcast parlay.
The parlay, baby.
Little Timmy doesn't exist, but Anyhow, anything else?
No, just Merry Christmas to all the viewers. Merry Christmas to you guys here. I know we've talked about outside in the chat, but grateful for you guys. Grateful for this year. It's been fun, man. It's been fun talking sports. It's been fun, getting absolutely schooled by the master Dylan from his end, right? And Mr. Pac-12. I mean, that was one of the most memorable moments this year for sure. I mean, there's been a lot of good moments, like for sure. It's fun. Wish we had Connor here, but happy birthday to him. It's been a good year. Like I said, I know it's not over yet, but it's been fun so far. And like I said, it's been fun for all the people that have been listening and kind of joining the ride with us. It's been a fun time, man.
It's fun to get a break from the mundane week, and even though it's late for me, sitting back and talking some sports, talking some football. So it's been good. Merry Christmas to everybody. Happy birthday, Connor, and let's win a couple more parlays on our way out.
You guys said it. Merry Christmas to everybody out there. Happy holidays. Happy Kwanzaa. Happy Hanukkah. You name it. Happy whatever holiday you celebrate. Happy birthday, Connor. I was going to say Merry Christmas, Connor, but yeah, I guess that works too. We're getting late here. But we're going to have some changes coming next year. We'll talk about it after the show real quick. I want to make some changes to the podcast. But next week's schedule, Dylan, will you be on? Yes or no?
Next week I will be.
Okay.
The week after I will not be.
Okay, there we go. When is the national championship? The 9th?
The 9th. So I'll most likely miss that, but I can send in a recap video or preview video or whatever if you want to.
We'll have to, or maybe I get a little video in person.
Oh, that would be legit. I didn't think about that. That would be awesome.
We'll get something planned for that. But that's
Nice.
if Michigan wins. If Michigan's not in it and it's like Ohio State and TCU, then you can sit that one out, enjoy your honeymoon and everything. But we'll be back next week. College football playoff next week. Updated bowl standings. We'll have everything going next week. NFL going to be a big podcast next week. Big stuff coming next year. Thank you so much for listening. Merry Christmas to all of you. Subscribe, rate, review. Thank you so much for listening. Do whatever you can do to help out. Merry Christmas, and we'll see y'all next time. Bye.